just finished book number 10. Hi, and welcome to Well Balanced Wallet. I'm Kamika, and I have a goal of reading 100 books in 2024. I just finished book number 10, so we're going to talk about the last 5 books that I've read. If you missed the first 5, you can click the video here. Let's get started. So first up, we have Banyan Moon. I mentioned in the last video that I read a book a month with 2 of my friends. So January was my pick. February was Melissa's pick. So Melissa chose this book, and it was a really sweet book. It's called Banyan Moon, and it's a contemporary fiction, and the story is about 3 generations of Vietnamese women. So the book follows these 3 women at different parts in their lives. It gives us background information about the hardship that each of them have had to go through. It talks about how mothers do certain things for their children, and it just goes through some of the things that it took to shape these women into who they are today. And they all find out information about themselves and their situations that they weren't aware of, because parents typically keep things from their children to make sure that they're safe and loved and protected, even if the choices might not be the right choice. So it's a solid read. I did have to look up what a banyan tree was, because the book kept referencing banyan trees, and I live in Georgia. When I looked it up, I've seen a number of these trees before, but since it was such a big theme in the book, and the book is called Banyan Moon, I had to look it up to see what it looked like, and it made sense, all the imagery that was described in the book. But overall, this was a solid read. So for my rating, I listened to this book as an audiobook, and I gave it 3 stars. And then this was Melissa's pick. She gave it 5 stars. She really loved it, but she typically loves like historical fiction, contemporary fiction, stuff like that. And then Jasmine rated it 4 stars. So we had a 5, 4, 3 within our little trio. But I really enjoyed this book. I probably would not have picked it up had Melissa not chosen it for her pick, but I'm glad I read it. The next book is called Don't Close Your Eyes, and this is a thriller. It's about Catherine and her husband Simon. So one morning, Catherine wakes up, and it's supposed to be the morning that Simon takes their child to daycare, and she has an appointment to go and do something. She wakes up, she notices that her child hasn't been woken up, dressed, anything. He's going to be late to school, and Simon is nowhere to be found. So Simon is missing. In between her getting her son ready for school and calling Simon, trying to find out where he is and why he isn't pulling his share of the responsibilities, she gets a knock on the door, and it's a police, and the police tells her that Simon is missing, and they found his car, and it's burnt up, and there was a person inside the car, but they can't identify who the person is. This was a good book to me. I really enjoyed thriller books, so this one kept me entertained. I predicted some of the plot twists, but not all of it. Like, I had a piece of it figured out, but not the whole thing. But I really enjoyed this book. So for my rating, I read this book as an audiobook, and I gave it 4 stars. Okay, so the next book is called Good Girls Don't Die, and this one, I really enjoyed this book, but I'm going to read you what the back of the book says, because if I try to summarize it, I don't think I can articulate in a way that makes sense. So it says, a thriller about 3 women who find themselves trapped inside stories they know aren't their own. Celia wakes up in a house that's supposed to be hers. There's a little girl who claims to be her daughter and a man that claims to be her husband, but Celia knows that this family and this life is not hers. Allie is supposed to be on a fun weekend trip, but then her friend's boyfriend unexpectedly invites a group to a remote cabin in the woods. Nobody believes Allie, but she is sure that something about this trip is very, very wrong. Maggie just wants to be home with her daughter, but she's in a dangerous situation and she doesn't know who put her there or why. She'll have to fight with everything she has to survive. 3 women, 3 stories, only one way out. So this is a 3-part novel about 3 different women in 3 different stories, and they get tied up together at the end. It was so unique. I've never read a book like this, but the book in itself reminded me of, what was the movie? The Truman Show, which I really enjoyed that movie too. But just following behind these 3 women, and they're like, wait, this seems familiar, but I know this isn't my life. This isn't what's supposed to happen. So it was really good. I really enjoyed this story. I think the writing was good. I don't think I've read anything by this author before, but I am interested in reading more books by her. I was just really engrossed in the story. Like, I didn't find any places where I wanted to skip ahead, and I didn't want to miss any details. Like, I wanted to pay attention because I was trying to, figure out what was going on for these three women as they were trying to figure it out. So that makes for a really fun read. So for my rating, I read this book as an audiobook and I gave it 4 stars. Okay, so the next book is Little Secrets. So this book is a thriller. It's about Marin, Derek, and Sebastian. Marin and Derek are married and their son's name is Sebastian. Sebastian was taken a year prior to the beginning of the story and they have not been able to find him. The police have called off the search. It's been over a year. So since that time, Marin has turned into a shell of herself. She's not the same person that she was, understandably, and she and her husband rarely speak. But during the investigation, when the police, said they aren't searching anymore, she hired a private investigator to continue looking for her son. And the private investigator comes up on some information that shows that Derek has been cheating on Marin with a younger woman. So Marin feels like she's already lost her son. She doesn't want to lose her husband. So she's going to do anything in her power to find out as much as she can about this mistress and to make her disappear. So this book was exciting to me. There was like a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stories, but it wasn't too much to keep you focused and understanding what's going on without, being confused. So for my rating, I read this book as an audiobook and I gave it 4 stars. So the last book that I read is called The Swap. And this book was different from a lot of the books that I read, but it's a thriller. It's about a teenager named Lo, a pottery teacher named Freya, and a new person that moves to this town called Jamie. So Jamie and Freya become good friends and they're both married, so their husbands also become good friends. They decide that they want to have a wild night, so they buy some drugs from Lo. Lo feels like she's a part of the crew, like they're going to invite her to stay, but they don't. They give her the money, get the drugs, and send her on her way. They have a wild night. Freya ends up suggesting that they switch partners. They do, and then all hell breaks loose. This book is wild, but it makes for a good story. I was trying to figure out what is going on. Like, are these 4 people, these 2 couples, still going to be friends after this? Why is Lo feeling like she's being left out? Because she knows that she's just a child. She has to know in her mind that she can't be friends with these adults, right? Where are her parents? What are they doing? Like, why are they not paying more attention to their children? And the book does go on to explain all of this. But as I was reading it, like, I'm trying to piece the whole thing together. I love a good puzzle, love a good twist. I kind of guessed the twist in this book, but not in the way that I thought. So the ending made me like gasp because what? I don't know. It was just a really good book. It was a good thriller. If you're looking for a good thriller, this is the one. So for ratings, I listened to this book as an audiobook and I gave it 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars because while I did enjoy reading the book, this book was completely unrealistic. Like, this book was far-fetched. It was a good read. It was fun, but it was only 3 stars. So that wraps up books 6 through 10 for my 100 books in 2024. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you're currently reading. And please suggest some 5-star books because I still haven't read a 5-star book in 2024. That's all for this video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and click the link on your screen right now for more Well Balanced Wallet content. See you there.